Shalom. Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Waha, Waka, Kodash. Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai. Bahashim, meaning coming in the name. Ba means coming in. Ha means the. Shah means name. Waka means holy. Kodash means spirit. Double honors to the elders and the apostles and the bishops of Great Millstone, who will well and teach well, because those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you sincere brothers that are scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. And shalom to you sincere sisters that's listening in silence as the scriptures command you to do so. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much in this lesson, we're going to read about Jeroboam. Alright. And this is the things that Jeroboam did. Now, I did a lesson about him. You had, after King Solomon sinned and he died, you had Rehoboam and Jeroboam. Rehoboam was the son of King Solomon, who reigned in Jerusalem. He pretty much was king over the southern kingdom. And then you had Jeroboam. He became king over the northern kingdom. Okay, and the reason why was because Rehoboam was putting heavy taxes upon the Israelites. They wanted him to uplift the tax rate, and he listened to one of his childhood friends and intensified the taxes. So they got upset, and the majority of the 10 tribes left from following Rehoboam and went to following Jeroboam. So you only had Judah and Benjamin, I believe it's Judah and Benjamin, that was following Rehoboam. But the rest of the tribes, they were following Jeroboam of the northern kingdom. But we're going to read about this. Let's read it. It says Jeroboam, right? Jeroboam, right? It says, let the kinsmen plead. That's what his name means, it says the name of two, it says the name of two kings of the northern kingdom of Israel. Jeroboam was king over the northern kingdom, right? And it says Jeroboam the first king of Israel, the 10 northern tribes, or the northern kingdom. It says a state established after the death of Solomon, right? Because when King Solomon died, Israel was split into 2 kingdoms because he sinned, right? He did sin. He took on the gods of the concubines that he had, right? And he brought them into the altar of Jerusalem. He sinned, right? It wasn't because of the concubines he had. It was because he worshipped their gods. It says a state established after the death of Solomon. It says 1 Kings, right, 11 and 26 through verse 14, chapter 14 through verse 20. It says the son of Nabat and Zerah, right? Jeroboam reigned over Israel for 22 years. You see that? For precept, 1 Kings 14 and 20, it says from 931/930 to 910 09 BC. It says Jeroboam the first, right, first appears in the biblical record. It says as Solomon's servant. It says the officer over all the labor force of the house of Joseph. 1 Kings 11 and 28. One day as Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, the prophet Ahijah, right, the Shilonite, met him on the road and confronted him with an inact parable. Ahijah was wearing a new garment, took hold of the garment and tore it into 12 pieces. It says, he then said to Jeroboam, take for yourself 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the power of Israel, behold, I will tear the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to you. That's in 1 Kings 11 and 31. And it says, when Solomon learned of Ahijah's words, he sought to kill Jeroboam. And that's why Jeroboam went to Egypt, because Solomon tried to kill him. So he went to Egypt. It says, but Jeroboam fled to Egypt. You see, because that's in the scriptures when you read that. It says, where he was granted publical asylum by Shishka the first. It says the king of Egypt. Only after the death of Solomon did Jeroboam wish to return to his native Palestine. It says Solomon's kingdom was outwardly rich. It says and prosperous. It says and thriving, but the great building project he undertook were accomplished by forced labor, high taxes, and other obsessive measures. See, because he had high taxes. But when his son Rehoboam took the throne, Rehoboam intensified it more. So that caused Israel to split into two kingdoms. Right? That's what caused it. But we're gonna get to that. It says high taxes and other processive measures. It says discounted and unrested. It says and unrest existed throughout Solomon's kingdom. When the great king died, the kingdom was like a powdered keg awaiting a spark. The occasion of the explosion, the tearing of the 10 tribes from Solomon's successor, came because of the foolish insensitivity of Solomon's son Rehoboam. See? Because Rehoboam, he made the taxes heavier on the Israelites. It says Rehoboam had gone to Shechem to be anointed as the new king. A delegation led by Jeroboam, it says, who had returned from Egypt following Solomon's death. You see that? And it says, and said to Rehoboam, your father made our yoke heavy. Right? Because he made the taxes more heavier on the Israelites. Right? It says, now therefore lighten the burdensome service of your father, right? And his heavy yoke which he put on us. It says, and we will serve, right? So they told him, you uplift the tax rate, we'll serve under you, because your father had the taxes very heavy on us, right? That's what they were telling him. But look, this is what Rehoboam did. This is why Israel split into two kingdoms. It says, but Rehoboam followed the advice of his inexperienced companions and replied, whereas my father laid a heavy yoke on you, I will add to your yoke. So he made it even double, more heavier, right? It says, my father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scourges, right? It says, after this shows of Rehoboam's foolishness, after Rehoboam's foolishness, the 10 northern tribes revolted against Rehoboam and appointed Jeroboam as their king. So they left from following Rehoboam, which Rehoboam was, and they went to follow Jeroboam. So now Israel was split into two kingdoms, right? Let's prove it. And it says Jeroboam was concerned that the people of Israel might return to the house of David, right? And this is when, let's read it. Let's get to it because I don't want to explain it. I'll just read it. It says Jeroboam was concerned that the people of Israel might return to the house of David if they continue to journey to Jerusalem for the festivals and observances of the temple of Solomon. So he proposed an alternative form of a worship that was idolatrous. He had them worship Baal. He had them worship a false god. That's what caused Israel, the northern kingdom, to fall. But Israel was split into two kingdoms. When you go to 1 Kings 12 and 12, 16 through 20, it talks about that. How Israel was split into two kingdoms due to Rehoboam putting heavier taxes on the Israelites. So they left from following Rehoboam and they joined Jeroboam. So there was only two tribes that was following Rehoboam. That was Judah and Benjamin. But the rest of the 10 tribes, they were following Jeroboam. But Jeroboam led them astray because he was worried that they were going to go back to following Rehoboam again. So he had them worship a false god. That's what caused the northern kingdom to fall, though. It says Jeroboam was concerning that the people of Israel might return to the house of David if they continue to journey to Jerusalem for the festivals and observances at the temple of Solomon. But he proposed an alternative form of worship which was idolatrous, and he made 2 calves of gold that bore a close resemblance of the mounts of the Canaanite pagan god Baal. You see that? He had them worshiping that. Jeroboam did. And it says the king told the countrymen, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. It says, here are your gods, O Israel, which brought you up from the land of Egypt. You see that? And that's 1 Kings 12 and 28. It says one calf was erected in Bethel. It says, and one in Dan. Once committed this sinful direction, Jeroboam's progress was downhill. He next appointed priests from tribes other than Levi. He offered sacrifices to these images and gradually polluted the worship of Israel. You see that? The Lord confronted Jeroboam by sending him an unnamed prophet who predicted the Most High's judgment on the king and the nation. It says, although outwardly he appeared to be repentant, Jeroboam would not change his disastrous idolatry. See? It says his rebellious and arrogant attitude set the pattern for rulers of Israel. It says his rebellious and arrogant attitude set the pattern of the rulers of Israel for generations to come. It says 18 kings sat on the throne of Israel after his death, but not one of them gave up his pagan worship. You see that? So that's what Jeroboam did. And then if you read here, it goes down pretty much into Jeroboam II, his son. But the main thing I wanted to read about was Jeroboam. Jeroboam led Israel astray. Okay? Jeroboam led Israel astray. The northern kingdom fell first. That's when you had the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrian Empire came in, and that was in 722 BCE. So, hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. On to the next one. Shalom.